Hello, everyone. Allison, and welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Survivor Hero versus Villains, the rewatch. We're on episodes 7 and 8. With me, as always, Tyler and Beth, but we don't care about them. We've got ABI-MARIA from the Philippines with us. That's all that matters. She's got all dressed up for us, and she covered her vagina right before we went live. Amazing.
But the boobs are still out, so
Yeah,
that's all we care about. Yes,
that's totally fine.
Abby, how are you doing? I think the last time a lot of us saw you was the Sequester mini for Survivor players. How have you been since then?
oh my gosh, Beth definitely kept me on track. I was like completely out of it, like after 2 bottles of rosé and some edibles.
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good.
I mean, I do live in California, so it's all good. CBD is good for your health. But yeah, I was totally faded, and I made it to final 2. It was such a fun game, though. Like when my security was knocking on my door right after we were playing the killer and detective game, I was just like, how did Audrey get to my house and knock on my door? I swear to God, I was like, oh,
it literally was.
Well, thank you.
It was the funniest thing in the world where you were in the middle of doing your final 2 questioning and you were like, excuse me, there's someone at my door, and it was security.
I didn't know what?
Yeah, what did you say to them? What did you say to security?
I was just like, I'm about to win a game. I'm about to win a game, and you're like disturbing. And he's like, you're screaming from your window, and the neighbors are worried. Remember that, like when we were the final 4 girls, I was like, ah! I was so excited. So the neighbors complained, and that's why security came.
It was so epic. It, like, honestly, you 4 ladies just made the whole game, but then you and Kellen were both so gone and doing the final 2. It was just hysterical and iconic.
You were pretty bruised up too. I know. Kellen and I were like, all right, I guess the secret to win Sequester is just get real drunk.
I mean, there's a lot of winners that would agree.
Listen, at least your neighbors care. If they heard me screaming and acting nuts, they wouldn't think anything of it. I was just Tuesday night in Allison's house. Okay.
I guess I had a meltdown. If this was Rob has a podcast, he would have gone like, bing. I had my own meltdown.
Here we have some fans.
I have one. Should I go get mine?
Yeah, go get yours.
Hold on. Are you guys sure nobody's going to see my vagina? Hold on.
Okay, well, cover it up, girl. Cover it up. Matt in the chat and Adrienne, Celeste, and Valencia, you guys, welcome.
Welcome in, family. Good to see you all.
While she's getting her fan, we are going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 of Survivor Heroes versus Villains. And we figured, these 2 episodes are very villain heavy. So we figured might as well bring one of the best villains that Survivor has ever had with ABI-MARIA Gomes.
I am a villain. I'm bad and I'm cute. Okay.
All right.
At least you own it though, right? Like I remember like when the votes were being revealed for Survivor Cambodia, you and Cass were right next to each other in the audience. And I think when you guys got chosen, Cass like did like rock star hands to the camera and she's like, villains. And that's what I love about the 2 of you guys is like you guys are just so unapologetic about it. You really embrace that villain role.
It's Survivor. You gotta cheat, lie, and steal. Come on.
Yeah,
100%.
How do you feel about these villains in Heroes versus Villains?
Oh my God, Heroes versus Villains is like literally like my favorite season. I love Heroes versus Villains. The villains are great. I love Parvati being her charming self before having a child and being married. So I love like her using her flirtatious tool. Like I like to say flirtatious tool. Being Parv, I love watching her like play really hard. Sandra is queen. Queen stays queen. I can get loud too. Isn't that what she says? I can get loud too. Yeah, I love Jerry, even though Jerry's like, I'm so bad at being a villain.
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely want to talk about that in particular because, we've seen the evolution of like female villains over the course of Survivor history, but Jerry is the original. She's the OG Black Widow. And she's really taken through quite a ride these 2 episodes. And I don't remember like being this captivated by Jerry and Coach in particular, but like for some reason on this rewatch, like, man, like Jerry just really goes for a ride here. Like she's just totally spun by Russell and she doesn't even realize it. And I feel like Coach is just like zooming out, looking at this whole thing, being like, oh my God, like it's too late. Like it's just such a mess, you know? Abby, what do you think? Like, how did Russell like get Jerry so effectively? Right? Like, what do you think happened there?
I mean, Russell is really good at spreading paranoia in camp, and when you are out there, you're so paranoid. So I think that's how that's how he got her in. I mean, and then the girls too, you know, the girls were trying to do this girl thing. So like Poverty and Danielle, I think they got into Jerry's ears, and that's how she kind of got into the Russell train. And of course, Coach and her had that beautiful chemistry and relationship going on in the game. So that was cool. I mean, dude, I need to play with the Coach and make this whole like, you're not a dragon's lair. Like the dragon's lair and the dragon working together. Wouldn't it be so awesome? I've been fantasizing about it. I'm like,
that would be amazing.
Would be so amazing.
Be great.
Yeah, if the dragon's lair wouldn't slay the dragon and then, you know, work together.
I would love to see that.
Peace into the dragon kingdom. Oh, it would be awesome not to be slayed by him. I do not want to be slayed by Coach.
Well, like, I don't think you have much to worry about because you didn't do much slaying in this season in terms of getting a lot of people out. And I think he really struggled with the idea of being labeled a villain in this season. And these last 2 episodes of his, I really feel like show him as like someone who's just like, I try to be good into the loyal code and all that stuff. And I'm like, you're on the villains tribe, bro. Get with it. You can lie, cheat, and steal because they're all going to do that to you. So you better get your head in the game.
And that's the reason why Russell controlled the game for such a majority of the game on that season. And that's the reason why, I mean, we're not talking about winners yet. Like, you know, like the girls went so far because that's exactly what they were playing the game. That's what people have to take in perspective. You're playing a game. You're playing Survivor. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And I also think like a big part of this too is like Jerry just couldn't let go of this baggage from All Stars, right? Like she says to Coach, like when she's trying to explain it, she's like, I tried trusting Rob, but like it's just not clicking. And I think that like and maybe you can speak to this, Abby, as somebody who's played like multiple seasons with like some of the same people. Like I feel like it's almost impossible not to like carry that baggage over into the next season, right?
I mean, so hard. Look what happened to me. Like I came with all the best intentions. I'm gonna patch up my little mistakes. I'm gonna be sweet little Abby.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna be a dragon whatsoever. And then first scene, boom, it's just like, oh my God, really? I got no breaks here. I'm gonna have to be a freaking dragon. They knew exactly what they were doing, and that was waking up the Brazilian motherfucking dragons.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like I think that in our tweets back and forth before we had you on the show, you were kind of talking a little bit about how this season and the villains in particular were people that you idolized and wanted to bring into your gameplay. So do you want to discuss a little bit like about how this season in particular shaped how your own strategy?
My whole story, my whole Survivor career?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You know, before I got on the show, when I was going through casting, you know that I tried for Tocantins even before.
I think I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, the first season that I cast for was Tocantins, so I knew. I didn't get to meet them, but we were all sequestered together, like Tyson, Coach.
Yeah.
Who else? The hero guy, JT. Like him and I had a total moment in the van when we were going to to CBS to talk to the executives and everybody. Coach was like amazing to watch when we were like sequestered. He had this robe and he was like with his hair up like a samurai. I'm like, wow, this guy's gonna do something else. Stephen Fishback was there too. I remember seeing him. And JT was a total, like, you could tell that he was a total cowboy. He had like his boots and and Tyson was hilarious. He was like wearing a Speedo at the pool, and he kept on doing laps, and he had like some Ray-Bans. I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna be interesting. Anyways, I didn't get to that season, but from there on, I kept on watching Survivor, and I mean, here villains have so much more fun on the show. So I'm like, if I'm gonna be on a show that I'm gonna have to be stabbing people in the back, I mean, you know, I mean, I at the end of the day, you do want to be America's sweetheart, but like, I don't know, I just went there to play Survivor and win it.
Totally. And I feel like we see a lot of the times this season in particular that like the heroes, like they try to play this heroic game and they just get like totally blindsided, totally made a fool of. You know, this is the episodes where like they start thinking that there's like an all women's alliance and they're like taking out all the men in the villains tribe. And JT finds the idol, and we all know what happens with that.
I know.
Tune in next week for us to read him to filth on it.
Yeah. But it just really goes to show like how much like the heroes were just like missing the pulse and the beat of the game, and how like the villains just totally just like spun circles around all of them. It's really crazy.
When it came to the merge. They totally misread that message. I still don't get how you got merge from that message at all. You're going to eat good if you win. Yeah. Okay, that's merge.
It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So So they pack up all of their stuff. Well, first of all, they're like totally malnourished at this point. Like they have no energy, and they spend like what little energy they have left to like bring all of their shit to the reward challenge because they think this is the merge. And Jeff's like, drop your
expectations.
I know, Job. You never know what's gonna happen on Survivor, which is so amazing.
So Abby, speak to us a little bit. When you were that malnourished, I mean, obviously in your first season, your tribe kept winning, so that was a nice thing. You weren't, you know, a Matt Singh kind of situation, but
and it was very strategic too because I had torn my ACL day one, so they knew I was the weakest link. So it wasn't me being lazy wanting to sit out of challenges. I'm actually a very athletic person and I'm not bad at challenges. The things that my right knee, I tore it on the first challenge when we had like 60 seconds to gather everything that we could, to jump on the water, to get on the raft and find a map to find our island. So during that process, I tore my ACL and I didn't know what it was. My knee kept on giving up on me. So, you know, strategically, we just decided that it was better to just get the people that were like functioning to play. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what would it be like if you were hungry and you're like, I think it's a merge, and you pack up your entire camp, bring it, find out it's not a merge? Like, what would be going through your mind as someone who's played the game in order to like deal with that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, oh my God, really? Like now we're gonna have to burn calories that we don't even have in our bodies, you know, like put together a camp all over again, like carry this shit back to camp. Like, no.
And they have to do all of that rebuilding without Rob there, which is like the biggest thing.
Without Rob, I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I would be like, all right, whose bright idea was it they thought this was a merge? Y'all put this shit back together, not me.
Yeah, that's why you never want to be the first one to be like, okay, yeah, let's make this. Like, I'm just, hey, let's go with the flow in this one. I'm not going to be a decision maker, especially if it has to do with like putting camp, like just, you know, like taking camp with you to a challenge that you don't know exactly what's going on.
We got a question for you, Abby, from Sam in the chat. He said, Abby, were you shocked? Who were you shocked? I can't read. I'm sorry.
Abby, who were you shocked did not get voted to get on second chances? Also, who were you shocked did get voted on second chances? Okay, I was shocked that Natalie didn't get on second chances. Shane is like,
I thought Shane was definitely going to get out.
Yeah, another one to the Mexican American girl, Stephanie. Like I was really hoping to play with her. She was
from South Pacific.
Was it South Pacific?
I think so.
The storms are coming. She played with Russell too.
Yeah. She was the one that was trying to link up with Russell, and they voted Russell out early. And she was just like, karma. Yeah. So
I was really shocked not to see her. Sabrina. I mean, so many like everybody deserved it to be there. That's why I hate it. I don't like this whole campaigning. Like, it's just like, oh, it just makes it so hard for us as players, you know, to go through that even before you get on it.
Well, I don't think you in particular, you didn't have anything to worry about. Like you were like a lock to be on that season.
You know, I heard it.
I remember voting for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I heard different. Like, I think Jeff told me, oh, you're lucky to be here. You almost didn't make it. I'm like,
oh, shoot.
Whatever, bitch. Like, no, I'm supposed to be here. So many other seasons that they didn't put me on that I'm Game Changers. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was supposed to be on Game Changers too. I feel like I'm a game changer. I'm sorry. I think so.
I always, in my mind, Abby, think that you were on Philippine Second Chances and Game Changers, because for me, it's weird that you weren't. Like, there are some people on Game Changers, I'm like, would we consider that a game changer?
I know, the girl with the big curly hair. What's her name again? I don't even know her name.
Ashley? No, not Ashley. No, Haley.
Haley, I'm like, you guys chose Haley over me? Okay, whatever. Talk to the hand. Like,
And that's
because I was going through casting too for that, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm a shoe in. Come on, like both times I played, I gave them so much resilience. I was scrappy. Like I played my freaking butt off, and then they put Haley. I'm like, really? Like,
yeah, and you made it really far in both of your seasons. Yeah. It's not like you got voted out early. And that's, I think, what a lot of people expect, right? Is when you have these second chances seasons, the people who are a little bit more divisive on a tribe, you're like, oh, you're going to get rid of them first. And it's like, no, because if they have good gameplay and they know how to use their scrappiness or the parts of them that maybe rub people the wrong way, they do it in a way that's strategic. And like, that's what I loved about watching you as a character on television is like, you know, there were times where we were like, oh, Abby. But then there were times you're like, oh, Abby. You know?
My friends are like that. They're like, my friend Josh is like, yeah, like we were watching and you're like, I'm just not going to cook for anybody. And then like, we can totally see you doing that. But if you're on Survivor, you have to want to cook for everyone. Like, Josh, talk to the hand, okay? Like, no, not right now.
I gotta say, like, the Witches Coven was probably like one of my favorite alliances, like in Survivor history. Like, I was just rooting for all three of you to succeed, like, so much. And like when you like flipped off Andrew Savage, like when he went home, like stuff like that was just like perfect. Or no, he flipped you off.
He kept on saying it when we were on 10. He was like, "Oh, I just want to make it to the jury." I'm like, "Bro, you made it to the jury."
He's like, "F you."
Yeah.
That always makes me laugh every time. It's just the whole buildup of everything, and then seeing Savage go, and you just go, "At least you made it to the jury." Just
so like, it's just like, you know, like he got stabbed in the heart, and I just went like,
yeah.
Let's make sure he's dead.
Well, another dramatic exit in Tribal Council. Rob goes home, and Coach gets up to give him a hug, and Rob kind of pushes him away, and he says, "You're a little man."
No, you gotta say it in the Boston Rob accent, Tyler.
You're a little man. You're a little man.
That was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's not good.
Oh, you just did a German accent for sure. That was great. Or Austrian. I think he's Austrian.
But like, this is like, for Coach in particular, this is so like damaging. Demoralizing. Like Rob says earlier, he says, what Coach holds dear to his heart is his reputation, right?
And his feathers.
And his feather.
His feathers.
And so I actually have a screenshot of Coach in the next episode because like this is what happened.
He's so strung out.
And you have to think like just like 2 episodes before this, like Coach was saying like Rob's the best. I want to be like him. Like he's amazing. Like he's the star of this tribe. And to be called that in front of like everybody, like that hurts Coach so much.
His ego, for sure. That's another thing that you got to remember on Survivor. You got to put the ego really, really like, you know, you can't have that.
Yeah, I just think Coach is like unable to do that. Like that's just so ingrained in who he is.
Were there people, and I mean, you played Philippines with 3 returning players, in Penner, Russell, Swan, and
Penner didn't want to hug me either when he was voted out. I tried going for a hug, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good."
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so when you watch, I'm so happy you got my wavelength. So I was gonna say, you played with people who were returning players that you were probably watched before. What was it like to enter in a game with people that already played, but that maybe you looked up to, or maybe you thought they were funny, and now you're playing the game with them, and then one of them, when he gets eliminated, doesn't even want to hug you? Like,
I know, it felt really like it was hurtful. I was just like, damn, I thought we were friends.
At
But
the very
that's
least,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't about me, right? He was the one being voted out, and then I think he knew that that his wife was probably gonna be there already, waiting for the loved one visit, because we already kind of like have an
I
idea
see.
by counting the days. I think that that's the reason why he was even more upset, because you know he was looking forward in seeing his wife that he loves dearly, and then he wasn't gonna be able to see her. So that's probably why he was super upset.
I don't even know how I would be able to handle that if I went in to hug someone and they rejected me. I'd be like, oh, what are you talking? I was stretching.
It sucks. I know. You're like,
You're boring. That's why you're going home. Oh, I gotta stretch. Okay.
And speaking of that, I mean, the next episode, right, was the family visit in Philippines.
Yeah,
was that the next
then
episode?
there was the family visit.
And you got
Exactly.
to see your mom. And what is it like when you're out there and all of a sudden, like, one of your most favorite loved people in the world just comes running out?
Gosh, it's such a boost of energy. Like, you need that love from home, because I mean, especially me, I was being chewed up, swallowed, and thrown up.
Like, you would have been out the previous episode had you not won immunity, right? Do I have that correctly in my mind?
Was that immunity, or did I use?
I think Abby won the final 6 or final 5 immunity. I think she used the immunity. I think you used the idol for Penner's vote.
I used the idol.
Okay, it was the idol. I mean, okay.
And then people are saying that I used my idol in the wrong time. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just not going home. I'm using this idol. Don't care what time is the right time.
Hey, listen, you used an idol to save yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very good. All right. Well, yeah, I think that, you know, what we find interesting in this situation, when you look at the whole arc of the villains tribe for the episode that Rob goes out, you were really looking at a family that all of a sudden has had to turn in on itself. And there's a whole bunch of schemers, and you have Russell's side, you have Rob's side, you have Jerry and Coach in the middle, and Jerry and Coach have been gelling this whole time, but you see this rift really come between them, where Jerry's starting to think strategically and Coach is thinking with his heart more than anything else. And Coach can't commit. And so he throws a vote onto Courtney, knowing she's not going to get any other votes, which is why Rob says you're a little man. Not to mention something that we mentioned Allison, we can't hear you. You're muted right now.
My 18-year-old cat was spazzing out. But no, I was just saying that I didn't want y'all to hear. I don't think I'm stepping on a cat over here. But no, I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead.
But I actually want to talk about that because so I want to get into one of our crazy hypotheticals for this season. So if Coach doesn't vote for Courtney, if Coach like sticks to his guns and votes out Russell here, is that who they voted for?
They voted for Rob.
So it was like Rob, Russell, and Courtney, right? Were like the 3 people that got votes. Right. If Coach had voted out Russell, like making it a 4-4 tie, I think they go to Rocks here, right? And
vote again. Don't they get the chance to vote again?
Yeah, but I don't see anybody like they know that that's coming. Like these are like seasoned players, and I think that like so it would just be interesting to see like what happens in the tie there and like who goes home.
I don't think Coach would go to Rocks. I think that's why he voted for Courtney, so he wouldn't go to Rock. I think that's the reason why, because I think that he like didn't want to put his game on the line for either one of them, but also did put his game on the line by not voting for either one of them.
Right, exactly. Like abstaining is just as much like sending somebody home as voting for them in this situation. And that's why like Rob says like you're a little man is like you didn't even have the balls to vote me out. He hugs Jerry on the way out the door. Because he knows that Jerry like voted him out, but like they had this really great conversation, and I actually took a screenshot of this too because
she voted for Russell.
She voted for Rob. And like so I really loved this scene here where like this is like 10 years of friendship in this scene right here. And it just goes to show like how misted Jerry is by Russell at this point. Like Rob's looking at Jerry and he's like, listen, you know what you got to do. I understand if you have to do it. But
you're doing the accent now.
Now he's doing it right.
Now you did it.
And he's like, Jerry, like it's an easy decision, but like you have to be able to like stand up. And at this point, like it's just like too far gone for Jerry. She's like very like closely like been like tiptoeing, like dancing with the devil until that like one conversation where she finally goes up to Russell, pulls Coach in and says, listen, I'm with Russell. Coach, you have to come with me. Like at that point, like there's no coming back from that. And like that is where we saw Coach like super upset, because it basically tells Coach like, listen, like my loyalty is to Russell more than you. And I think that that's totally undeserved at this point. And Coach like really gets put in a bind here. He doesn't have like any other option except to go with Jerry, even though he sees through that Russell is like, it's very like cult leader mentality that you don't really see too often in Survivor players. And I think that's why Russell stands out as like such a prominent figure in Survivor history. Is like shit like this, right? Like he says to Jerry, he's like, listen, Rob is the one that's evil. He's the one that's like causing like a rift and division in this tribe. And then like 5 minutes later, he's saying, oh, you're going with me. Like fuck Jerry or fuck Parvati, fuck Danielle. Like I want to go to the end with you. When like just 5 minutes before that, he was saying like, listen, I'm not going to play this game dirty. But like she's just so missed it at this point that it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy to watch happen.
I've never understood the strategy of, I don't think I can beat those two at the end, but so I want to bring you, like, that's such a backhanded compliment. If somebody said, I don't think I can beat those two, so I want to bring you to the end. First of all, I know that you're just trying to get my vote at that point. Like that is a clear cut line for me to be like, okay, so you really don't mean that. Because unless you have to be able to back it up. He didn't say, you see how Parvati is able to bring in these things. Like, Parvati, I can understand. Okay, she's a previous winner, blah, blah, blah. You're going to say you can't beat Danielle at the end?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting she's on the.
That's my point.
Every time she pops up, I'm like, oh, Danielle's on this season. Okay.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, they always tell her, like, they're very careful with their wording with Jerry, right? Like, they say, we're going to bring you to 4. You're going to final 4 with us. And, like, Abby, maybe you can speak to this, but, like, to me, that's a red flag. If you're saying like we're going to 4, that means that you're going to cut me at 4. Like you don't want to take me to the end, right?
Well, with me, a lot of people are just trying to make the case that I was the person to take to the end because they thought that I couldn't win, right? Super underestimated. Like everybody just wanted to take me to the end because apparently I'm that annoying that I cannot win the game of Survivor. That's what I always heard. It doesn't feel good because you want to feel that you're there, you're playing, you're playing your role, you're doing what you can do. And to me, I'm like, gosh, I made it to final 5 with the tourney. I'm going to have to be, I felt when I was playing that I was going to be able to pull something together and get some votes my way. I mean,
I think that there are a couple people in the jury that were prepared to vote for you if you got to the final 3.
That would have been amazing.
And I think that it was very much for the reason of you guys all went for what they like. Abby did what she needed to do in order to get there. You guys brought her along, and you guys don't deserve it. Then, like,
I have a hard time with the whole like, oh, bring it to the. I can't stand players that think that they're better than other players. I think that everyone that's there is deserving. If they make it to the end, they're deserving. If they have a speech that will touch your heart, hey, why not? I mean, I voted for Denise to win, and her and I, we did not like each other in the game. I mean. Some people actually see her as a villain too because of the way that she was towards me. It all depends on which prisma or which lens or the way you look at each player. I mean,
how did you feel Denise did in Winners at War?
I think she did amazing. I mean, she dethroned the queen. That was not easy feat.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine a season. Imagine a season, if you will, with the Dragon Slayer and the dragon and the Queen Slayer and the queen.
Oh my God.
That would be...
We just came up with a whole season.
Come on,
Dragon.
Producers, come to me. I can help you out.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
I mean, I don't think that some of those are ever. I don't think Denise or Sandra are ever going to play again. I don't know about Coach.
Steven. Do you see him? He's late, but he's here for me, the queen, the legend, the one and only ABI-MARIA Gomes. Hey, kiss my ass.
Now, Stephen Dangle I can't say his name. He's from Big Brother 10, and he never comes. He never does anything. say he comes on our show and it's so funny, just these random like we haven't seen him in 6 months, Steve. Where have you been?
Right.
I think the best part is I really don't think that's actually Steve.
I'm gonna believe it is. I'm gonna believe it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch your guys' stuff. I watch it.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Don't underestimate your show. Everybody wants a little meltdown in their lives.
That's true.
He's been filming.
Oh, he's saying he's been filming. It's him.
He is a film star. So we support our sex workers and our porn stars. You better work.
Yeah, if you Google Abby, if you Google his name, some videos will come up. So.
And it's the W.
Maybe one day if I'm feeling a little lonely and frisky.
A little saucy.
Joking, no.
It requires so much time commitment. Of course.
It's a lot of time and a lot of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I speak from experience, but I just assume.
By the way, Allison, before I forget, I cannot believe you have an 18-year-old. What?
Oh my God, no, honey, he's 24.
That's your boyfriend?
Or no, my son.
Wow.
No, my
she
son
was 3 when she had him.
Actually, I had him in utero. It was amazing. I'm in Guinness book.
A baby inside a baby.
A baby inside
a baby.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. So of course, like after Rob is voted out, like this is when the villains tribe, like they're just accepting that like they're gonna lose at this point from here on out until the merge. And so that's why Russell's like really trying to solidify, like, this is the group we're going into the merge with, and we're just gonna like, it's okay if we lose because like Sandra can go, Courtney can go, whatever. But you know, Sandra says in confessional, she's like, you know, voting out Rob was a mistake. We're screwed in immunity now. I should be with the heroes. Like, I hate Jerry, I hate Coach, I hate Russell, I hate them all. But then she comes up with a plan with Courtney. She's like, listen, Russell's so stupid. If we just tell him that Coach is talking about him, trying to get him out, he's so stupid, he's going to eat that crap up. And he does. And this just really goes to show, like, sometimes the best thing to do in Survivor is just to plant a little seed and just let that paranoia just do its thing. And she did this like even before they lost immunity, which I think is really key. Because like even after they lose, like it's still like a little bug in the back of Russell's mind that just like totally festers into this huge thing.
So what you said earlier, his cult mentality really works well on Survivor because that's what you want. You want, you know, numbers, right? You want people to be with you and believe you and be with you, even though like your ideas are kind of like out there and crazy. You want them to like, you know, follow you as a cult.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's actually a great Survivor player. I mean,
absolutely.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
I did think it was funny how, you know, he's riding high from that tribal council, and then, you know, Sandra comes over there and goes, you know, Coach is saying, and he's like, who, what, huh? Like, he just like, goes, who said something? Like, it immediately changes. Hey, Kim, how are you?
We have Kim and Tina in the house, the winner of
Sequester Queen.
But she's welcome, Kim. It's been a while. Glad to have you here.
Happy belated birthday.
Yes,
Everyone tells Kim happy birthday.
I can't believe you're just turning 30. You look like you're a teenager.
30? She's 24. What?
She's the same age as your
same
son.
age as Allison's son. There you go. No, like this whole cult mentality thing, like it's yes, he is a good player, but like this is how Sandra's better, is like she doesn't fall for the cult mentality of it all, and she knows how to exploit it. She knows that like she doesn't have to like run around the beach like doing all of these like big like strategy plans. Like just tell Russell, listen, Coach was saying your name. And that's it. You know, we've heard so many times this season already, Russell in confessional, if you not with me, you against me, you got to go home. And and like it's a power trip thing for him.
That's what Sandra and Parvati know. That's what Sandra and Parvati know, how to deal with Russell, right? He's like a little guy with a big ego. They know how to stroke his ego.
Yeah, and that ego just needs like constant feeding, right? And anytime like somebody doesn't, that's it, you know. And it's done. It's 100% emotional. It's not like strategy based at all, because you have to think like, Russell kind of needs Coach more than he needs Sandra and Courtney moving forward, right? Because say Sandra and Courtney are both there in the merge, they're totally going to flip on the villains, and the villains like don't have the majority going into that merge. They probably tip off JT about the idol, so he doesn't give it to them, or like they vote out the right person. It's just so like, I don't know. Russell's lucky that they make it through the merge.
It's so funny to me because Sandra could have said anything. She could have said, you see what Coach is doing right now? You see that leg Tai Chi move he's doing? Mm-hmm. That says I'm kicking Russell out. That's what that says.
The Coach
pay attention to that.
Yeah.
When you were doing Coach Chi the other day, when all the rest of us were, he made us do one exhale out and pretend like we were punching you out of the game. Like all you have to do is do something like that.
Get the rust out. I think
think that this is a basic form of communication at its finest, but it's something that so many people don't get, which is you need to be able to make another person feel listened to and that they're valid. And if you can do that, which Parvati does throughout her flirtation, Sandra does with the little sprinkle of things that she puts in there. Yeah, that's what people do, is they make other people feel like they're being seen and heard, and like you want them to pay attention to you. And that's great. And that's exactly, to your point, Tyler, why it's not necessary all the time to just scramble on the beach if you're able to get ahead of the game like that. And I think that we see Russell going out and playing this aggressive game. And I think the reason why, in my opinion, Parvati and Sandra play a better game than him is because they're able to go, oh, we have your number. You'd think that we don't, but we do. And we're going to play you and make you do the stuff that we want you to do. And it's no better than in this episode.
It's like that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You know, the man think that they are the brain, but the woman are the neck. Basically, one way you're going.
That line.
Yeah, I mean, like Russell's basically just a lightning rod for attention. This whole
absolutely,
season. Really, truly,
rod for attention.
No, and that's all it is, because like the women playing with him, Parvati and Danielle know this. The women playing against him, Sandra and Courtney, know this as well. They're just kind of taking turns, like how like this shit can be like put on
They're
him.
They're taking turns driving the boat.
Yeah.
With their neck. Yeah.
And I think the biggest loser in all of this is Jerry. You know, like she's so misted here that she has no idea how big of a loss it is that Coach is going here. Yeah. She's the one that's like SOL, and she has to be tied to Russell at this point. Like, what other option does she have?
Right. And the girls.
Feel like she probably would have had a better chance if she had kept Robin and gotten Russell out.
Yeah, totally.
Because what ends up happening there is Rob is always going to have a big target on him. Russell's always going to have a big target on him. But what people know Rob's game, they don't know Russell's game. Russell's a question mark. He just played. These people have not seen him play. They don't know who he is. And they've like, he pops in and just like thinks he's like the new kid on the block, and they're like, we don't know who this guy is. Apparently he was on the last season, but we're gonna get, Rob is a known entity, and Jerry can't trust Rob fully because of All Stars. So it's better to keep around the devil you know than the devil you don't. I honestly think that was a mistake of hers, was to flip over in that moment. And if she had not turned on Coach, I think Coach would have gone along and voted Russell out. I don't think that would have been a big deal for him.
But Beth, it's so like, I feel like she had no choice. Like once she like flirts with the idea of going with Russell for too long, right? Because like, especially like we were just talking about how easy Russell flipped on Coach just after like one little bug is planted. Like Jerry literally says to his face, like, I'm scared. I don't know if I want to commit to you guys. And how do you think he takes that? So like if Jerry ultimately sides with Rob here, I think Jerry is like the biggest target going into this next vote instead, because he's just so like personally offended by that. But
here's the thing:
chose Rob over me.
I don't know about that, because Rob would make sure, okay, she stuck with me, Coach stuck with me, and we still now have a minority of Parvati and Danielle. And of course, they're going to go for Parvati before they go for Jerry. But you better believe, Jerry, you're on the bottom of that totem pole in Rob's mind. Yeah. But I don't think that she's the next target necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know, but Let's see. I mean,
All these hypotheticals, Abby. You should have heard our episode last week. All we did.
I know. Yeah.
I'm just thinking here, who's going to be the next one to go home? I think that I think someone's going to get ahead of himself, maybe with maybe an idol thing. Isn't that what's going to happen? Something like that. I don't remember exactly. But what is going to be getting played? Oh, I think I remember now. Okay. Anyways,
Abby, I have a question for you. How do you feel about this season, like not doing any swaps for tribes? Do you like it?
Heroes versus villains, not doing any swaps. Yeah, I like it. It's just it gets too complicated when it gets too many. I mean, I was in a season filled with swaps. Remember, we ended up going to Encore, and it's just like it makes it really hard for the people that are just. I mean, or it can be helpful too if you think about it, because if you're on the bottom of an alliance and then you get swapped, there's an opportunity to create your own little alliance out there. So I don't know. Let me take it back. It depends on.
I think
you actually got to experience a season without a tribe swap. You only got you took Meltdown, and then you experienced a season with a whole bunch of swaps.
A whole bunch of swaps. And I was swapping. I was swapping with all of those swaps. Encore was hell though, but it saved my life in the game big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but Jeremy was sitting pretty though the whole time. I mean, there was no doubt he was gonna win. I mean, in my eyes, because he's like sitting pretty there. His alliance was with him the whole time. I mean, it's nice to be the king and sit on the throne and let your little peasants do the dirty work for you. So hopefully one day I'll be lucky enough that I'll be the queen and I'll be having my little peasants doing all my dirty work for me. That's how. I mean, you know. I respect a lot Denise as a winner on Philippines because she had to work hard.
Yeah.
Even though she was a bitch to me, she, you know, like at the end of the day.
You guys definitely had your moments. Yeah. So it's no secret on this podcast, like Denise is my all-time favorite winner because of like the struggles she had to go through.
She had to be scrappy.
And I think that there's so many things that like on the surface, you look at you and Denise and you go, oh, they're very different people. But actually, you guys had a lot of scrap in a very similar kind of way, but they manifested themselves differently. And you had a tribe that won and didn't have to go to tribal council until the merge. And then
but you know what? I was going to use that to my advantage because that was my strategy. I'm like, you guys, use me as the weakest link. Don't like my lag. We don't know what's happening here. So I'll take credit for that.
Absolutely. So I think like what you can do is like there's actually a lot of similarities, and I think you have two very strong women who are like stubborn in their own ways, like butting heads. That you know, I think that that's what makes the season so interesting to me is that
I'm 41. Look at those guns.
Right. Looking gun.
I'd have to push up a little bit in my fat here to here we go. Okay. But I think that that's what's so like Philippines is my favorite season, and it's not just because it I just think
it's so good.
It has all the drama. It has great strategy. It has great challenges. Wonderful like underdog story, but at the same time, you see the tension of what happens with your tribe when Tang Dang, when they don't go to tribal council and you can't like get out someone like RC or whoever, you know, and it's just like it just boils under and then it falls apart at the merge. So it's so interesting to me. It's like one of the coolest seasons. That's my favorite.
I love that season too. And I love when I won that immunity, like when I won the auction, the advantage, and then I went and I was so nervous. I'm like, how am I going to pull this off? I prayed to God so hard. I'm like, God, please, let's make this a great season. Let's do this. And I pulled that off and I beat Carter. I was just like, I don't know if you guys saw, like, I was just like thanking God so hard. And then they were like, we want to vomit. I'm like, you motherfucker.
That's one of my favorite moments of the season is when you win immunity and like Denise's face.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. But that's what I love. I hate a season where everything's predictable. Throw a wrench in the plans. Mm-hmm. You were that wrench, and you were consistently that wrench.
I loved it when I went like, okay, you guys want to know? You're not gonna know. Yeah.
So Abby, who do you keep up with from Survivor? Like, who do you keep in touch with?
I keep in touch with a bunch of people. Let's see here. Who was the last survivor that I talked? I think the last person I spoke with was Lauren, actually back, because we were doing the whole
her TikTok thing, right? Yeah,
we did that TikTok thing.
That was cute. I like that.
Yeah, Cass and I also chat often. Kelly Wentworth and I are really close. Sierra, who else? You know, I have a lot of love for my ex-boyfriend Peter. I can get back together. I think they make a great couple, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm just having my leftovers, so okay.
Right.
You can have the trash.
I always thought that he should go back on. I thought that he would be a good person to have back, because he's also like, if there was a villain season, like a Heroes Villains 2, like he's somebody that I feel like people kind of forget about, but he really helped to pit you and RC against each other. And
totally.
And it was really good to look at too. So
I mean, there was that too.
Yeah, I was about to say he aesthetically looks pretty good too. So.
And he tastes good, and his penis is humongous.
Wait, Beth's face is like frozen. That's so funny.
That was great.
Big feet and big hands. I hope he's not listening or watching this. Oh God! And I'm not even drunk. I just had a lot of what was I drinking earlier? Matcha tea, and it has a lot of green tea in it. Yeah.
There you go.
Good stuff. It's good stuff.
Allison's like, okay.
That's your question. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Allison has like 5 follow-up questions for you.
What about the size of his feet or his hands?
What's his Instagram?
I love it.
I have a question though. Let me ask you something. They were bitching in this episode tonight. Jerry was just back at camp throwing a fit of, talking about, this is my favorite thing, when they talk shit about people and they don't know they're there. That just makes me so happy inside. But they were talking about Courtney and Sandra sitting out of the challenge.
Yeah.
And Sandra's like, I'm sitting right here. I said whatever. I didn't say I didn't want to do it. But if you look back at it, though, in hindsight, Sandra does tend to sit out.
I think Sandra holds the record for most sit-outs in challenges.
It works for her, though. It works for her.
And I'm sitting here going, damn it, I could play Survivor. I got to hit you. Got it. But I'm sitting here going, man, I could make it on Survivor. I've just said everything out.
Yeah.
Right? And then just plant little seeds everywhere I go. Are you going to take that? I wouldn't. And then just walk
there you go. I wouldn't. And people would be like, what?
Well, it's funny because like the heroes really considered this game like, we're like strong, we're physical, we're winning the challenges, we're good at Survivor, right? And then they all end up voting for somebody who sits out of the challenges at the end of the game.
It's so true.
Right?
I feel like old school Survivor was about wins.
Yeah.
If you win challenges, blah, blah, blah. And then also Mike and Ben won that way too. And then, but also because of immunity rights.
Yeah.
But I feel like old school Survivor was about you stuck to your alliance and your word, you stuck to your tribe, and it was just a battle, and whoever won the challenges, they got to do whatever they want, blah, 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 blah. Like there really wasn't, like, you get into the seasons, like, honestly, China, Micronesia, and then this is where it really starts, where there's like, no, we're going to make this game about wins and everything that's happened in the back seat. And I really feel like the Villains tribe introduces the new era of Survivor to the 20s, and then the 30s are their own thing. But I feel like this is where we really get to see, like, oh, okay, you can kind of go back on people's words. What happens in the challenges is just one variable as to how you're going to vote for someone to win at the end.
That's why villains have more fun.
Well, I'll take it one more step further. I think that Russell in particular, not just the villains, but we really should credit Russell to the evolution of this game and the strategy of it all. Because like Jerry's a prime example. Like, she's still so butthurt over Rob screwing her over in All-Stars like 6 years ago before this Heroes versus Villains. Whereas like the pace of the game, and Abby can speak to this, playing in like later seasons, that's just kind of expected in modern Survivor, is to like fuck people over. And I feel like we have Russell to thank for kind of like heightening the pace of the game, heightening the strategy of it all.
The pulse, reading the room, for sure.
I also go ahead, Allison.
I'm sorry. It's just kind of like in that tribal council, but sitting there between Rob and Russell, and how Russell's sitting there going, "I'm gonna use your quote. If you're not with me, you're against me." And Rob just like, "Yeah, you're not with me." I mean, it just seemed like he couldn't. And I love Rob, but it was just not.
I also love Courtney on that tribal when Jeff. Oh my God, Jeff can be so annoying sometimes. Sorry, Jeff Ropes, but like when Jeffrey is like, "Oh yeah, like what did she say?" She's like, "Oh, it's not because of me that we're like." What was it like? I was kind of like finishing it, and then
said something about her sitting out.
Yeah, and she was like, "Listen, Coach is the one who decided that I sat out. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that we lost, and it wasn't my fault that I had to compete in the immunity challenge. Like, Coach decided that." Yeah, I really feel like Jeff really piled on Courtney.
It was also about
I believe that.
voting out Rob, and she's like, "I didn't vote out Rob. The tribe voted out Rob. I didn't vote for him." And he was like, but don't you feel like that put more pressure on you? And she's like, "Again, I didn't do this, and it wasn't me, and I didn't make these decisions." So
good for her.
And here's the thing, and this is why I love Courtney, because also I think it's the finale, the reunion portion of China, where he kind of goes in on her about her weight. Too, because like, did a lot of people ask you if you were like anorexic? And she was like, "Mostly you." And I was like, "Yes, go for it."
Yeah, girl, And
I love Jeff. I do think he's one of the better hosts out of these reality competition shows. And I do think that we're seeing an evolving world of reality television that is more inclusive, but still has a long way to go. And I do think that he's a voice that's way stronger than someone like Julie Chen, for example. He actually will say like at this Island of the Idols, when they had all of the sexual harassment issues with one of the contestants, he gave Kelly the floor and said, "You talk and say what you need to." And that was like, that's a great moment, right? He's a good host. I'm sure he had a part of that decision. That's great. But he's also not immune to some of the mistakes he's made in the past. And sometimes it's really cringy to go back and see how he talked to some of the women over some of the men.
Yes, that's what I've noticed. He's like really a lot tougher on the woman. I mean, I'm one of the girls that he's been really tough on. I'm like, bro.
Well, not only that, but like even in like the preview for episode 8 of this season, he's like, "Rob is the ultimate loss, and Russell voted him out, fueled by jealousy. Is the villain's tribe gonna totally fall apart without Rob?" You know, like it's very one-sided in terms of like,
you love Rob.
I'm just gonna say,
we get it. Like, you love Rob.
We get it. You love Rob.
Right, exactly.
Boston Rob is your jam. We got it.
You made a big statue.
Yes.
His face.
But that's one of my favorite things too, right? It's like he doesn't even attempt to hide it. It's just like when like Rob comes back for Winners at War, I swear to God, Jeff just sits there like,
I know.
What was it like? We're so happy to see you.
Did you build a great shelter again, Rob?
Yeah, even though Rob made like the most like stale tribe in Winners at War, when he was like, "All right, everybody, stay at camp. We're not gonna like do alliances and stuff. Nobody's gonna go off and talk. We're all just gonna sit here in quiet."
Guess who outthought that?
Abby,
the women on that tribe. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, thank you.
Abby, what would you do in that situation with Rob?
There's no controlling me, but no, you're not gonna tell me what to do. Come on, you think someone's gonna be telling me what to do? No.
Okay, I know that I've said this many times, that Denise is like, obviously a favorite winner of mine, but I wish that Abby won that season and was on Winners at War, just so we could see her be like, "Fuck you, Rob."
I would see that in my life.
They're just so people I'd love to see you interact with, and one of them is
He
Tyson.
always plays the game. He always plays the same game too. You would want to see me interact with Tyson?
I would love to, just because I feel like Tyson has this dry,
So
almost
cocky.
calm sense of humor, but he's so cocky.
Yeah.
But then, like, you are just like, anything I'm feeling, it's happening, and you're gonna see it. And like, I don't hide anything. So it would be really interesting to see the two of you. Like, I actually think the two of you could work really well together. But I also think that there could be moments where like you're upset and he's just stoking the fire with you. So like that's what I think would be interesting to watch.
You would poke.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Who know? I don't know if I'll ever play again, because at this point, I feel like they wouldn't even allow me to play. You know, like they would just want to get rid of me because they would feel like they can't control me, which is bullshit.
Abby, I have one more question before you wrap up here. How do you feel about the edit of your character over like the 2 seasons that you played, and also like other people that you played with? Like, do you think that the edit really represented everybody accurately to how it was out there?
I think it's really how the show is edited. It's based on the winner. I think they backtrack and edit like how it's gonna tell the story. I think that anyone over there can be a villain or a hero. I think everyone over there under those circumstances have wonderful, beautiful, heroic moments and villainous moments. I mean, Denise could have been a total villain. Obviously, she wouldn't have won or our season because of the blatant racism that was towards me out there. I mean, you know, like it was blatant that they were discriminating me for not being, you know, like I mean, I am American too. I have an American passport. Like I'm a dual citizen, but I am completely different. Like I come from a whole different background than all of them. So it's I think it's all based on who the winner will be or is, and then that's how they will be telling the story. So it is editing, it is TV, there is TV magic, and when you get into it, it's all out of their control. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying, Matt. So it all depends. Like the arc will be based on whoever the winner is, and I mean, just playing the game of Survivor is an honor, you know?
Absolutely.
It can get loud at times because of social media afterwards, and we are people, we have our moments, but, you know, like I talk to my mom about it all the time. I was wondering my life purpose the other day, and then, you know, like the internet can get so loud sometimes, and then I get a little anxiety, but she's like, you know, you just have to remember everyone has different facets of their personality, Abby. Exactly. Like, you know, you're a wonderful person, but, you know, you're put into a situation where you're fighting for your life. There's $1 million that could change your life, and the title of Soul Survivor hanging right in front of you. So
did you actually see snakes, or is that just B-roll?
Yeah, I mean, no, I remember vividly on Second Chances when we were going to a tribal, and then they had to stop everything because there was like literally a viper snake right there.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, and then they got the snake guy, and then he comes and he like took it out of our way. Yeah, no, we see some crazy shit.
I'd love to see Allison's reaction to that.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. You know what bothers me, Abby, is because you were scrappy and you were true to yourself, people kind of came for you and made the comments like, oh, she's nuts, or she's all, I wonder moms. Like, I just felt like it was unnecessary. Just because you're different and you react differently than a group of people, that doesn't give that group of people the right to come after you. And in my opinion, it was bullying. And
I agree.
You know, and Denise can sit there with her psychiatric explanation of, well, I think it's a group of people have felt they met their tolerance. That's no. If everyone's coming after one person, that's bullying. I don't care who you are, what you got to pay.
And it happened again on Second Chances.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean,
that's why Ditz was really like, you know what, I can't let this happen. To this day, he calls me, he's like, that was just not right. We actually spoke recently. He called me the other day. So, how you doing?
Wait, who?
Ditz.
Terry.
Terry
Ditz. Okay,
Terry Ditz. Yeah. He's like, those people, you know, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Abby,
Well,
thank you
But
so
I'm not
much.
a victim. I'm like,
You are
oh,
not.
No, and that's what we
No,
love
no.
about you, Abby, is that like
That's why we love you.
getting
you are
dark
so
here.
unapologetic. You are like one of Survivor's like
Yes.
most prominent characters in Survivor history. So to speak about this amazing season with somebody as iconic as you are is quite the honor. So thank you so much for taking the time to.
Thanks for having
talk
me.
with
I
all
really
of us.
appreciate you guys very much. It's getting dark. I want to head to the beach and watch the whole Saturn.
Oh, yeah.
thing. Yeah, so that's what I'm
to-
gonna do right now.
I
Hey,
tried to
Abby,
see
I
this
sent
and
you a
I
friend
couldn't.
request on Facebook. Just saying.
Please do. Please, yes. I get so many. I will accept. It's Allison.
Yes.
Your name on Facebook is Allison.
Yes, Allison Kelly.
Okay, Allison Kelly. Okay, I will accept for sure.
Perfect.
You won't
Abby,
be sending me hate messages. You promise?
Never. No, we'll talk about people together. It'll be fun.
Oh yes, let's do it.
oh God, that's
well-
a conversation we'll need sometime. But thank you, Abby, so much for joining us. And this has been a lot of fun. We are going to take the rest of. I mean, we're going to do the challenge after the challenge on Wednesday. But the reason why we're doing this on a Monday is so that we can take Christmas Eve off, and then what else am I trying to say? We're doing the challenge. I already said that.
New Year's, Christmas,
Yes,
everything.
Holidays galore.
Pandemic, everything going on here. But yeah,
Fam.
no, thank you so much for having me back. Anything for you.
Yes.
You're a great mod. And so nice meeting you, Tyler. Thanks, Allison. I can't believe you have a kid that's 24. Like you were what, 13 when you had that child? Oh my
In
God.
utero.
In
Yeah.
utero.
Baby.
It was a
and-
Russian doll situation, you know. It was
So today is very important, you guys, to just be hopeful. Think of positive things because it's a huge manifestation, manifesting time right now. It's very, very powerful. So
yes.
be faithful, have faith, and say your prayers to God. I love you all. Bye.
Thank you so much, Abby. We appreciate it.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
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 And
I love it.
So yeah, guys.
Everybody, listen, everybody needs Jesus. I've been saying it all along. Even ABI-MARIA has Jesus. Y'all need Jesus. That's it.
if you want.
If you want.
Or-
But-
faith. Just have faith.
Faith. Just have faith in something.
Or maybe you believe in some amazing queens, which transitions us.
I do believe in queens.
Yeah, I believe in one queen who gave My Weekly Meltdown a really cool shout out for our patrons that I wanted to share here as well, just as a little preview of what we're recapping over on our patron exclusive show. But I wanted to share it with everybody too, just so you guys could all get a little taste of what we're covering over on Patreon. So here's a cameo by Darian Lake.
Oh, surprise! Hi, it's Miss Darian Lake from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6. So, all the people over at the podcast of My Weekly Meltdown want to wish you the greatest of holidays. Yes, My Weekly Meltdown will cover all of reality TV, and for their very first Patreon show, they're covering RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6. Ooh, so we want to say thank you so much for your support. Happy holidays. Finally, the last holiday. We can get through 2020. We can do it. We're almost there. So everyone, Allison and Tyler and Beth from My Weekly Meltdown podcast, love you so much, and so do I. So big kisses from the big girl and happy holidays. Mwah.
Allison, is this our lip sync challenge? You and I doing
Oh, were we
lip
both
syncing
mouthing
to?
it at the same time? Listen, I'll keep
I mean,
your ass.
maybe we could lip sync to this by the end of the season. Darian's cameo.
me
I think
tell
that's a really excellent.
I'll tell you what we could do here. So for those that aren't a part of our Patreon and you want to become a supporter, or you're thinking about it and you're not quite sure if you want to or not yet, Tyler came up with a nice little challenge last week that we're going to stick to, which is if we get 25 patrons, right now we're at what, 18?
17.
17? Yeah. If we get to 25 patrons, Tyler here is going to Drag up like Meghan McCain.
We decided if I were to play the Snatch game, Meghan McCain is who I would be. There's a lot of facial similarities between the two of us. So yeah, so if you want to see that, become a patron at patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown.
I bet all of you at home are now looking at Tyler's face and going, oh my God, I bet you could track him up to look like Meghan McCain. Bitch, we know. And that's why you should become a patron and listen to how we came to that.
You do kind of look like Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, I mean that's wait,
Panettiere.
Panettiere. Yeah, but I think Meghan McCain's a funnier character to do.
Oh yeah, and that's your lip sync challenge could be like some kind of outburst she has on the video.
Yeah, there's definitely
okay. Can I say, have y'all ever seen Drunk History?
Yes.
On the Comedy Channel. That's like my dream, is to get on Drunk History and do something like that. That would be like Drunk History.
It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
You know what he should have to do? Me going on one of her rants and lip syncing to that.
Oh
my
so
God.
he's lip syncing
Like
your voice.
Drunk History, but I'm not drunk.
You're just Allison.
I don't need to be drunk.
Right, exactly.
You're good. You're good.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in while we recapped Survivor Heroes versus Villains, episodes 7 and 8, along with ABI-MARIA. What a treat to have her talking through all of this. One of the biggest villains in Survivor history, so it's only fitting to have her talk about Heroes versus Villains.
I was speechless. I was legit sitting over here speechless, just staring at her. When does that happen?
Cool. Very cool. I can see why she gets cast. She's a really good storyteller. And now we all have to go look up Pete Urosky on Instagram.
Yes.
But everybody have a great rest of your night. We will see you guys on Wednesday to talk about the challenge. And everybody stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll see you guys next time.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Yeah, what they said. All right, bye.
Wear a mask, idiot.